Hi everybody, and welcome back to Tom's Trains and Things. In this episode of At the Workbench, we're going to remove one of the access doors that I have in the far corner of my layout and detail it a little bit further. In one of my old videos I assembled Tower Gas, and that's one of the buildings that I'm going to put on it, and an old tavern that I have. It's a DPM kit that I built a long time ago. I'm going to permanently affix it to the door, and we're going to do a little bit more detail on it, and we'll see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. So I hope you enjoy the video, and keep watching. I have Tower Gas just sitting on the access door right now, and that's the tavern right behind it. That's where they're going to be in position. I'm going to remove that access door, and we'll give it a permanent home there. I'll just pan over a little bit, and over on this end is the other half of the access door, and maybe in the next At the Workbench I'll remove that one and we'll work on that. So let's get to work on this, and maybe we'll learn something. Maybe I'll learn something too. Before I move the access door, I'm going to have to mark where the other door sets on top of it, so I know how far back to put the buildings. And I have this nice little Sharpie here. It's a silver Sharpie, and it works a little bit better than the black ones. So I'm just going to mark the edge of where the other door is to give me a reference of how much room I have to work with. So now that I have that marked, I just want to see something here. Lift this up a little bit. Okay, yeah. I have that overhanging right there, so I'll put this out here. So there we have it. It's marked, and I'm ready to move the door and put it on the workbench so I can get started on it. I opened the door on the left-hand side that sits on top of this access door that I'm going to be working on, and you could see the lines that I just drew on there. Okay, so that's how much room I have to work with. So I'm going to just take off the door right now, and we'll get to work. And I got the block in the way, so I can't see where the screw is. There it is. And that block is there as a stop, so when I open up the door, it has something to rest on. So here's the section. And as you can see, I have two mirrors in there, actually. One right there, you can see the edge, and another one right here underneath the trees, just to give it a little bit of a view block for the train going behind it. I have some 2x2s left over from the legs of my layout, and I use them for these drop down, or these access doors. I have a handle on the bottom of them, so what I do is I set these up on top of the 2x2s so I can work on them just like that. Okay, yeah. A lot of dust up on the roof. We're going to have to take care of that. This is the building right here that I was going to put the other roof stairway on there to hide the corner of this mirror right here. Okay, the mirror that I use isn't really a glass mirror. It's a flexible plastic that has a shiny surface on it, and you can get them at Michael's. And what I did was I put a heavy piece of styrene on the back of it just to make it stiff. But if you look real close, you could still see a little bit of waves in it, because, you know, especially where I glued the two pieces of plastic together. So since this is in the background and way back in the corner, you can't really see it. But this, I knew this wasn't going to hide the edge of the mirror. But what I wanted to do was take the focus away from the edge. But, you know, taking a look at it and you know, looking at this way, this is how most viewers are going to be able to see it. I think what I'm going to do is just put a chimney right here on the corner, and then it will look like there, you know, and I'll have it right up against the mirror, and it'll just look like that there's a chimney right in the middle of the building right here. Okay, and then I'll keep the access just a little bit further away from it. I was going to put it close to the edge, but it doesn't look that good, so I'll just put it right back here. I have the two buildings just sitting there right now, and it's just a visual representation of where they're going to be. What I'm going to do before I mount them, I'm going to take a piece of paper and draw out the area so I could cut a piece of styrene. And what I'm going to do is the front part of the styrene is going to actually look like a sidewalk, and I'll cut it all the way back to here where you'll be able to see it, and I'll taper it down for in front of the gas station, and I'll put a little bit of ground cover on this end, and you know, make it look nice, and put some back over here on the edge. I'm going to keep it right at the edge of the line right here, so when the other door comes down and the scenery comes down to it, it's going to meet it. It's going to butt right up against it, and the scenery is going to sit right above it. Because what I did was on the edge of the wood, I had the felt, which I showed in another video, and it's a little flexible, so it'll sit right up on top of the edge of the styrene. I taped a paper along the street line of the street over here, and then I taped it back here, and then I drew over here where the edge of the street is, and put a little curve right there for the curb, and then I marked where the scenery is over here, and then I drew over top of where the line was in the back. This is the back side. This will be where the back of the buildings are. Okay, this is the one street that you could see all the way from the front edge of the layout, and then this is the side street right here. And what I did was I continue with my line out here to continue the sidewalk, and I continued this line over here. I might just have to cut this square right here, and then continue out just a little bit further to fill it in, because it'll sit here like this. So I'm going to need a little extra piece like right here, and so I'll take a piece from right here, and then it should be the same angle right there, so I'll be able to fit it into there. I have the access door sitting on my workbench, and I cut the one piece of styrene, and what I used was 60 thousandths. And I'm not going to show you about how cutting it or anything like that. I'm going to refer you to a video and a fellow modeler, and his links will be, you know, at the bottom of the description, but it's Vinny, and he does excellent jobs with styrene. He does scratch builds for other people, and it's BNSF 6951, and the link will be on there. But what I'm going to do is I found a scrap piece of styrene, And I'm going to make this look like it's sitting on a pad. Okay. And I'm going to cut it off on the side right here. But what I'm going to do is, in the kit itself, it said there was like a little sidewalk, but there was no sidewalk in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another piece and bring it up, and then cut it to make it look like, you know, a little curved island, but up against the building, and then mount the gas tank right there. But I want to put this stuff on the styrene right now. I'm going to put this right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the location of the building, because before I prime the styrene, I'm going to scribe the sidewalk, and I know where the driveway is going to be, because right here I'm going to have like a couple of pieces of sidewalk right here, and then I'm going to file this down so it tapers down into the street, so you know the cars could drive up on it. And I'm going to continue with the sidewalk over there. I just want to mark the corners of this. Move that out of the way for right now. And right there is where the garage door is, and that's a little indented from the rest of the building, so I'm going to have a pad coming out right here and then tapered off. But this whole part, say from about right here to right here, is going to be all tapered like a driveway, so the cars could come up. Now this one over here, I'm bringing it all the ways back as far as I can, and the sidewalk on the far side, it's way in the back, so I'm just going to do a little bit of forced perspective here, you know, so I'm just going to make the sidewalk a little narrower coming back here. And basically all you're going to see is this one little corner of the sidewalk, because you're going to be viewing from about this angle right here. So there's going to be a sidewalk here, and then this is going to be tapered down, and then a little bit of a sidewalk right there. And then my pad for the building, I'm going to cut it square with the building, and then I'm going to increase the size right in front where the gas pump is going to be. I take the transfer tape, and I'll do it on the outline of the building. But you know, I'll have this other pad there, so I'll put the pad down first, and then I'll put another layer of tape up on top of that where the corners of the building are. And I'll also have a little bit hanging over so I could do the scenery, so I don't have to worry about putting glue right up against the building. You know, the transfer tape will hold the scenery that I put down there, whether it's going to be gravel or some for some weeds or grass or whatever. So I'm getting ready to measure out the sidewalk and everything, and then we'll get back with you. I've cut out the pad for the gas station. It's going to sit on there like this. And what I did was I tapered this area right here where the garage door is, and I left a little piece hanging out here. This is where the gas pump's going to be. But to make it a double thickness, I cut another piece, and I cut this out a scale 2.5 foot, and that should give us plenty of room to put a gas tank or a gas pump on there, and you know, maybe a little display with oil cans. There was always a display next to the gas pumps. And what I'm going to do is put this square right up against the edge where the building's going to be, and I'll put another square right here just to make sure that I'm right on the edge of it. Okay. This piece, the bottom piece, is a little bit bigger. It comes out a little bit further, but that's all right, because once I get it glued together, I'll sand it down, and I'm going to curve the edges right there. But I've taken some of the 10x7. Okay, and I use a paintbrush every once in a while with this, other, you know, for smaller applications, I make sure that this is nice and soft and got some glue on there. But what I'll do is I'll just rub some right there, put this up on top, make sure I'm square, and this sets up pretty fast. Okay, so I mean, it's already set up now. I'll just let it set for a while, maybe about an hour or so, and I'll do something else. And once it's good and dry, I'll just go over with a file or a little sanding block. I'll sand this smooth over here and on both sides, and then curve this a little bit, and then you won't see this little step right here. This is going to be all sanded down, and it's going to look like one continuous piece. And then the gas pump, I think I got the gas pump over here. Yeah, the gas pump will sit right, let me get a tweezer so I can set this down. I'll glue the gas pump on there, just like that. And I have to put a hose on there yet, and I still have the nozzle that I painted. But you know, once I'm ready to put this down on there, I'll put all the finishing touches on it, and then I'll see if I could find a little display, you know, because they always had like a A-shaped display that had oil cans on it. And earlier than the oil cans, they were in jars. They had little, they looked like mason jars. I have the pad cut for the gas station, and I have the tavern where I want to put it. What I'm going to do is, instead of cutting a piece of styrene to fit the bottom of the tavern, I'm going to take these little, they're 60 thousandths by 156 thousandths. Well, I can't get a good shot of it anyway, but it's plastrucked. But I'm going to take a couple of pieces of it, and when I do the painting on the sidewalk, I'll also do this. And what I'll do is, when I paint it, I'll just hit it this side and this side, so you know, you'll see the paint. That's so I won't have to you know, go on there and mask all this and then paint this separately. Once I have it on there, I'll just paint it, and then I'll leave one side, you know, unpainted, so I could attach it to the bottom there, and I'll just make a square. And then what I'll do is on the doors right here, I'll put a little, you know, cut a little piece sticking out a little bit further for the stoop. And here's the pad that I made for the gas station. Okay, it's going to sit there like this. Alright, and then I marked out the sidewalks. I'm going to have just a little square piece right here, and then a sidewalk coming up, and then going over here. This sidewalk right here, I have a scale 4 foot, and over here I have a scale 3 foot. And what I'll do is I'll make the squares in there, and right here, right in front of the gas station, I'm going to sand this down so it tapers down. And I'm going to this part right here, I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll put a little bit of gravel here, and maybe a little bit of tore up concrete over here, you know, right in front of where the garage part is. And again, it's raining, so that'll give me time to score the sidewalk on this piece right here before I hit it with the primer. And basically all I'm going to do is I'll take my my scale, HO scale, ruler scale, you know, and mark off the squares for the sidewalk over here, and then along here. What I normally do is, you know, like on the edge of the curb, there's that little piece. Oh, it's about maybe a scale 4 inches or so. So I'll measure in like 4 inches over here, and then I'll put a line right there. That's just the edge where the curb comes up. And it's still raining. Okay, here's a view of the sidewalk. And what I did was I measured a scale 4 inches right here, and that's for the curb. And I did that all the way around here. And what I did was I put a little tick mark. Well, this one here I only did 3 foot, and then I put some scratches in there to simulate the broken sidewalk, because that's going to be like where maybe a car ran over it or so. This part right here, this part from here down to here is where I'm going to taper it, so it'll meet with the pavement of the street. Okay, all these sidewalks are 4 foot, and except for this one's 3 foot, and I did the same thing up at this end here. Although this is only a 3 foot wide. Let me see, you can get a better view of it right there. 3 foot wide. I still made 4 foot blocks, and what I'll do is I'll have to cut another piece to put it out here. I mean, you're not really going to see it because the scenery is over top of it, but I'll just put a little piece over here to fill in. You know, I'm trying to talk and I'm not looking where the camera's pointing, but anyway, I'll be putting a piece right over in here just to fill it in. You know, I could take one of the pieces that I cut off and probably, well, not quite, but you know, you get the idea. I'll cut a piece and to fit it in right there. So I'm going to sand it down. I'm going to sand the little ridges down where I just cut into it for the sidewalk, and then I'm going to sand down this to taper it down to the street, and then I'll be ready to prime this and the little strips. In a recent episode of MR Video Plus Rehab My Railroad, Cody Grivno was working on a sidewalk, and he used this brown color for it as the primer. So I was going to try that out on here and see how that worked out, but normally I just do it in the gray. What I'm doing is I'm following the lines that are already scribed on there, and I did the edge and I did the back side. So now I'm going to do the creases in between the pieces of sidewalk, and I have them like 4 foot apart, and some of them are covered up pretty good, so I'm just going to go over here with the square and redo them. Okay, that's that part right there. And what I'm going to do is once I get this, I'm going to put a solution of Indian ink and alcohol, and that just draws out all the lines in there, and the black color will go into the cracks in the sidewalk and everything, and it'll just pop it out that much more. And before I get any further, I'm going to take a chisel blade and I'm going to mark wherever this building is right here. Okay, and then back behind the sidewalk, I'm just going to dig into right behind it a little bit, so you know, so you could see the transition between the sidewalk and the ground back here. I think I'm going to leave this concrete right here, and I'm going to make it look like it's, you know, pretty well beat up or so. Alright, I have the little areas chiseled out now. This is where the pad's going to be for the gas station, so it's going to be the sidewalk here, and then this is going to be the concrete, and I'm going to put squares right in this area, right in here, to indicate the expansion joints in it. What I'm going to have to do is go over this with a like a dirt colored cover, or dirt colored color. There you go. You know, before I do anything else with it. And this here and the foundation for the tavern, these little pieces here. So, I mean, I could get this easier with concrete. I have a concrete color here, which I think is maybe a little bit too light. So that's why what I do is I dilute this and put a little bit over top of it, and then I go over it with the alcohol and India ink mixture, and that way that, you know, it gives it the concrete color, lightens it up some, and then the India ink goes and darkens up areas of the sidewalk, and it also goes into the cracks, so the cracks stand out. I just watched a couple episodes of Rehab My Railroad, actually 15, 14, and 13, and this color right here that Cody was using for the streets, he left it this color, but only went over it with different chalks. I'm going to take a area right here and right here, and I'm going to put a little bit of this concrete on there. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab a little bit right on a scrap piece of styrene. And I'm just going to let this soak in there, because obviously we're going to need a couple of different coats. I don't know, it just doesn't look right. Doesn't look right to me. So I'll just put a little bit, just a little drop. Oh, well, I got more than a little drop right there. Now this is the full strength right here without the dilution, and we'll see what that looks like. And all this is going to be covered up, so it really doesn't matter right here. But this is the full strength, and then this is the diluted. And a diluted, I'm going to have to put more coats on it, but that's all right, because it works out better for me. I'm just going to put a little bit over here. All right, I played around with that one color, the concrete from Woodland Scenics, and it was just too light. So I went to my go-to color, and that is Apple Barrel Country Gray, and that's what I did all the concrete on here with. Okay, on the little curb piece that the gas pump is going to go on, I used white, and that's Americana warm white. And then the little red trim, like the edge of the curb where they had like the little it was like a metal form that went around it. I painted that heritage brick. Okay, then I put all my transfer tape on here to put the gas station on there, and then the transfer tape on here to put my little pad on there. And around here where I'm going to have like dirt and grass and everything else, I used raw sienna. There is it, raw sienna. Now here we have the building setting in place, and I haven't put them down in there permanently yet, but I just wanted to show you what I did. I got the foundation on the tavern, and I have the foundation here for the gas station, and I have the transfer tape on here. I already put the foundation on with the transfer tape for the gas station down, but I have it right here so I can put the building on there, and put the building on there. Okay, what I did was I drilled a 1/4-inch hole in each one of the bottoms right here, and I'm just going to take this the backing off the transfer tape, and then I'll show you how I apply the building to it, and then I'll just sprinkle a little bit of texture on the outside of the building, you know, right up against the building where the transfer tape is. When I put it down, I put it overlapping where the building is, so I would be able to put some texture right next to the building without having to put any glue right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up to the front. And you can see you can adjust it a little bit. You have a little bit of wiggle room right there. Alright, I have this little gizmo here that Debbie picked up at a thrift store. In fact, she picked up 3 of them. And I use this when I'm working at the workbench. I have, in situations like this, I have like my dirt. This is the coarse dirt right here. And then I have like a fine, and then I have a medium, and then in these little things I have like little bushes and stuff like that. And this is the ground cover I use, and it's like 3 different ground covers that I mix together. So you know, just so you know, you have a variety of different things in there. Okay, I added some Elmer's, you know, white glue. And I just put it on there with my finger. You know, I just, you know, drizzle it on there, and then I put some on, and I just spread it out with my finger. But I usually use a little spoon, but I mean, this is just a small area right here, so I'm just going to take the chisel bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of dirt in there, and then I'll go with a little bit of the weed and grass and other, you know, vegetation mixture here. And I'm going to let this set up for a little bit on this side here with the glue. And on the back is just the transfer tape on there. And what I'll do is I'll just sprinkle a little bit of this grass mixture over here. I added a little bit more texture to this side. I put some dirt in there, and I put some foliage in there, and over in this little corner over here also. Alright, this is set up and dried overnight, and I mean, there's going to be some loose stuff on there like that right there. And what I'll do right now is just hit it with some alcohol and then put some more glue on there after I apply some more ground cover here and there. I'll put a couple of little pieces here. Okay, this is the hairspray that I use, and then once I'm finished with it, I either fill it with water or alcohol. And this one I have it filled with alcohol. I was going to spray it on there, but since it's so close, I don't want to get it. If I put alcohol on this painted surface here with the acrylic paint, that's acrylic paint there. Yeah, that's acrylic paint. It'll sort of have blotches of white in it, just to soak it up in there, and that way when I apply the glue to that, the glue will run a lot easier. We'll do this side first so you can see what's going on here. That looks like it's good and soaked. Okay, I bought one of these Woodland Scenic Cement just to see how different it is from the Elmer's glue and water solution. And I mean, if you don't want to take the time to mix the glue and the water, that's fine. You buy this, but I just keep filling it up with my own solution of glue and water. And let me get this out of the way, and you just dab this on there. And what this does is all the loose stuff that was on top is it's going to set it in there. It's going to glue it down. Okay, I'm going to go back here where I didn't put the alcohol and let you see what happens. See that? See, it just bubbles up. And you can, yeah, I got it going over on the sidewalk there. It didn't have anything to grab onto but the little bit of dirt right there. See, even on the dirt itself, even the alcohol tends to bubble a lot before it starts to spread out, because it's so thin. I just put a real thin layer, and this is the real fine dirt right there. Okay, that ought to be good right there. That's it for the alcohol. It's nice and good and soaked right there. And I'll just go back to working on the glue. And these are easy to clean up. You just just continue to run water through them and squirt them out, and run some more water through them and squirt it out. Now this may discolor the dirt a little bit over here. Oop, get a lot of bubbles. And what I do is just sprinkle a little bit more on top of the glue, just to give it that color that we're looking for. Okay, that's nice and saturated. Okay, here is the dirt that I use. Here in Southwest Florida, we got a lot of sand. So in order to find some good dirt that looks like this, you got to go a long way, because where there isn't sand and where there is soil, you would not believe the soil is totally black. I mean, it is such rich soil down here. And so to get this, it's easier just to go into the hobby shop and get this than to try to go up further north to dig up some soil someplace. Okay, I have all the soil on there that I want, and I'll just go along here on the sidewalk with a paper towel and just try to soak that up. And it's all right if you get some on the sidewalk, because you always have sidewalks where the dirt and grass hang over, so you don't really have to worry about it. And this back here isn't even in view for right now, but maybe someday in another life, the next railroad, the next project. So there it is right there, and that'll take a while to dry up, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's dry. While I'm waiting for the ground cover to dry, the glue on it, I'm cutting out the little sidewalk signs. And what I did was I went with a straight edge along the bottom, and since all these other ones are curved and short, it's easier to do them freehand. But there's the little signs in there. I'm just going to put one of these signs on there. I don't want to, I mean, it's such a small space, I don't want to cramp it up with a lot of different signs in the area. Since this is so delicate, I'm going to leave the sign on here till the very last minute. I don't know if you could see. Let me see if I can get down in there like that. But the legs of the sign are so thin that I'm just going to leave it on here, and I'm going to apply the signage to it. And at the very last minute, I'll just cut it out and glue it back together and put it on the little display there, because I'm afraid that with my clunky hands, I'll end up breaking the legs off. I'll let that dry up, and then when I'm ready to put this thing back together, I'll cut that off of there and put it on the over by the sidewalk there where it belongs. I penciled some lines in on the roof for the tavern, and what I'm going to do is use my midnight. Okay, there we go. And I'm just going to dab it out from the lid. Okay, so You get the idea of what I'm doing here. I'm just drawing the lines on there, and they don't have to be perfect. And when I get around to this pipe right here, I'm going to go around and simulate that, you know, there's tar around to seal it in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to put a little bit of silver on it. But on another video I showed how I used the silver, the watered down silver, but I use this for marking, but you could also use this on here. I'm just going to put some silver showing through on here. Okay, I put some of the paint on here, and I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and then I'll put some more like white streaks in there. I'll dry brush the white streaks on there, and we'll be finished with this roof part here. I've dry brushed some white on here, and I also put a little smokestack on the back of there, but as you can see on here, I just dry brushed some white and on there and then up in this area here. That just gives it a little bit more definition to everything on there, and I started some on here, but basically, no good, that was a good catch on there, but basically what you do is just put a little bit of paint on your brush, on the tip of your brush, and it doesn't have to be a lot, and you just dab it, and then you can see I just go on here and I just make sure that it's not too much on there, and you just go over there with the brush and just lightly hit it, and it just puts a little bit of the white on there, and it just gives a little bit of contrast on your roof. And basically you do it anywhere, because I put some on the signs here and along the edge, you know, on these trim over here. I just go and it just puts a little bit of white on the corner. You know, there's not anything left on there now, but you can see how it can you see? Okay, so anyway, you know, I just have a little bit of white on the edges over there just for it to stand out a little bit. Alright, see that right there? Okay. I have to do some painting on it yet, and it's not permanently attached, but I took some florist wire, which is 29 thousandths diameter, and then I drilled two holes inside the gas pump. Yeah. I don't know if you could see that, but right now I still have to, here, let me put it right there, I still have to paint it. I'm going to paint it black, and then on the end silver to represent the nozzle on it. Now in Foscale's kit they have a laser cut nozzle, but it is so small that you probably won't even be able to see it, but I'm going to try to cut it out of there and see what it looks like. I might be able to glue it onto the end of that, but I kind of, you know, if I was about 20 years younger, I'd probably be able to do it with no problem, but right now I don't think I'll do it, but I'll give it a try anyway. I painted the, let me get a little background there so you can see it. I painted the hose black, so it looks a little bit better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out that little piece and see what it looks like. If not, if it doesn't work out, I'll just paint the end of that silver. That little thing right there, you can see where I cut out the piece, and it's just, you know, it's just attached to it right there. But that's how small that little thing is. So it's painted, and I'm going to try to cut it off of there and see if I could attach it to the hose. Wish me luck. I'm going to need it. This right here is from an old gas station kit from, I imagine, maybe as far back as the 1960s, and you could see how exaggerated the size was because you can compare these two gas pumps here. Now this is the old gas pump in the old, probably a Tyco model or something like that, and this is the new gas pump, so you could see the difference. You know, if you would look at it, you would probably think that this was maybe a S scale instead of an HO scale, but this right here is what I'm looking for, and I'll have to go on to oh, I'm going to screw up the name here. I'll just put this thing up here because I bought it from the before. Bettinger and Edgerly. So, and you know, I have him as a friend on Facebook, but he's gonna kill me for that. Okay, but he'd probably mess up my name the same. So, anyway, that's done, and I got this glued on there now. I painted the end of it, and that little deal, I looked in the instructions on Foss, and it said it was a handle, so I stuck it on the back right there, but you really can't see it, you know, from the front, so I just painted the edge of that silver to make it look like the nozzle sticking in the side of the pump. And I'll overlay a picture of a pump that I have. I stopped at a museum, and I have a picture of one. The only thing is that it's a silver pump instead of a red pump. Alright, the ground cover is dry. I got the gas pump together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mount the gas station up here. So I'm just going to strip the backing off of the transfer tape that I have here. And like I said before, if I ever need to move the building or gain access to the inside of the building, say if I want to open up the garage door, it's easy to pry it up off of there. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at it from right here. I'm gonna put one edge down on the front and make sure that I have it's square on this edge of the foundation. Oops. Press down on all of it, all the way around, and we're good in the back. I might have to touch up the paint on the foundation just a little bit, just because I know. But right there, and then for right now, I'm just going to put maybe a barrel there or some loose oil cans until I could find a stack of oil cans. So that's where we are right now. And the ground cover is good. It's nice and dry, and I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm taking a little bit of weathering chalk, or the powder. This is powder right here, so, and it's pretty hard powder, but it's sand, light sand, and mud. But these are good colors to just to weather a few places in there. And I'm sure there's going to be people who say, you know, that's not the right way to do it, but however you do it and whatever it looks like when it's done is fine. Okay, that's good right there. And what I did is I took some powder, rust powder, and I brought it down over here, and then over here I might have gone a little bit too heavy with it. And then I might be able to take my finger and take a little bit of it off, or maybe just just spread it out a little bit. Well, this is all we're going to do in this episode here. Here's a view of what it looks like. I've staged it up on top of the door, and we're going to continue doing some more, but that's going to be in another video because this one got a little bit too long. So we'll see you in the next video. And on this side right here, I scraped away some of the ground cover. I have to scrape away a little bit more, and then I'll fill it in. I'll set the mini scene in there, and then I'll fill in the ground cover, and you can see where the lines were that I marked on there. And so there we go. Alright, here's my little scene. I have it set up on the access door. And I don't have it permanently on there yet because we still got some work to do. But as far as this little mini scene right here is, we've got that one just about completed, and that's all the further I'm going to go on this one here. You can see how we go around the bend there, and there, we really can't see that from where we're going to be at, but I put a little bit of detail in between the buildings here, okay, and in front of the buildings. I still haven't found those little oil cans that I have, but as soon as I find them, I'll get them on there. And I'll go back and we can look at the mini scene right here. And this direction right here is how you're going to see it. It's going to be back in the corner, but this is about how you're going to see it. I'm going to put some vehicles in there. And on the next episode, I'm going to work on the other buildings and put the chimney up on that one condo or townhouse in the back. And I'm going to do something on the taxi cab facility right here, and then the warehouse back here. And this back in the back is just about completed. I might put a little bit more detail in there, but this is what it looks like, and I'm going to do an aerial view now. And here's what we look like. And I got to fix up the edge a little bit, and we still have, it isn't sitting down there all the way, but I didn't have a lot of room to work with, but that's what it's going to look like. Well, that's it for this episode of At the Workbench. I hope you enjoyed it. And maybe you learned something along the way, and maybe if I didn't do anything right, maybe you could let me know what I did wrong. So don't forget to subscribe, and you'll be able to see more of my videos. We'll see you. Bye-bye.